fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here. And now, whenever we last left off, we accidentally went too far. We skipped over the final exams, briefly covered those, so we'll be cutting back up to where Bakugo Katsuki, during the summer training camp, was kidnapped by the League of Villains. Now, with that being said, we do pick up with everybody, where we do have Denki with her arm bandaged up, along with actually being told by a doctor that she does need to stay off of it for a while. Her actually agreeing with the doctor, as there is quite a bit of commotion going on with the heroes, a lot of them actually talking. And this being where Todoroki, or Shoto, does actually go to walk down the hall to check and make sure if Yaoyorozu is okay. She did get partially injured, or at least suffer the same injury as in canon. She tried to stick a device to the Nomu, and the Nomu may have chased her around for a minute. She tried not to kill the beast, but that was a bit weird and tricky, especially because she basically had to throw a flashbang in its face and run off. Now, with that being said, she's talking with the pros, and letting them know that she put a tracker on the Nomu, along with the help of a student from Class 1B. So, she'll create a device for them, and they can find Bakugo, along with the villains. Now, she would create the device for them, and the pros would leave. Now, this would be where Shoto does actually walk into the room, beginning to talk with Yaoyorozu, him concerned whether or not she was okay, and her assuring Todoroki that she was fine. In fact, she'll be okay within a few days, and she'll be able to go back to the dorms soon. Now then, with that, Todoroki does actually bring it up, that they want to try and help. Now, this is seen as particularly tricky. Momo wants to leave it up to the pros, but at the same time, there also is that idea in her head that they might be able to handle it. This idea actually being the first thing that pops into her mind instead of just letting it be handled by the pros. Now, Momo, she does create the device, telling them that she will have no part in this, and that she is sorry. She's already going to get in trouble for giving this to them, but if she takes place in it, UA might possibly expel her. So, hopefully, he does understand. To which Todoroki would say that he does understand, as he would give Momo a kiss before running out of the room, and joining his brother. Momo getting quite flustered as she does try and hide her face. Denki at least laughing at Momo, as they do run by. Now, with that, events do go similarly. Everyone goes back to the dorms. And we actually do have Ida, who is talking about how this is a crazy, stupid idea, and that if they are going to do this, then he is going to accompany them. And there will be no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Now, Izuku quite simply just tries to tell Ida that, in fact, this is a horrible idea for him. Him being confused. And Izuku does try and hold his ground, telling Ida that he's too slow for what they might have to do. What? Too slow? Yes. Listen, with all three of our quirks, we're able to fly at least. Well, I mean, I'm able to maintain flight. He's able to fly using fire. And then there's, well, Denki. She's still working on it, but she can fly using those steel plates and moving throughout the air. Basically, jumping off of moving walls, but still, it's airborne. So listen, if anything does happen, we can get out of there. And, if we need to, we'll retreat immediately, alright? How does that sound? Him holding out his hand to Ida, who does just look down at it, and look up towards Izuku, telling him that he will not support reckless behavior. However, him actually bringing his hand up and shaking Midoriya's hand, saying that he also cannot accept the loss of a UA student. So, if they do not go running at the first signs of danger, then he will personally kick Midoriya's butt. Or try and, well, teach him or discipline him when he gets back. Referring to possibly keeping him after school for the rest of the year. Midoriya knowing that this is an empty threat, and paying no mind to it. Now, with that being said, they would leave. And Midoriya using his quirk, he's able to get them to the town they need to. And they are able to actually get somewhat better disguises. As Todoroki, he wears a full black wig. And some regular street clothes. Basically a black t-shirt and let's say some blue jeans. Oh, we do have Izuku, who, with his white hair backwards in a ponytail, he would pull out the hair tie and put it onto his right wrist, letting his hair flow down as you actually do see the streaks of red at the tips. Somewhere around the ponytail area it began to turn red, and you can see this. Now, Midoriya, he actually does put on a blue wig, let's say, and try to hide his hair that way. Denki was quite surprised. Midoriya doesn't often have his hair down like that. Now, with that being said, Denki, she would also find herself a wig. Let's say a green wig. And she does actually put it on. Along with actually wearing a dress, as Midoriya, he does wear somewhat of a dress shirt and some black pants. Now, with that being said, these three would head out, and are able to blend into the town, as they do begin to sneak around the area, trying to find exactly where they need to go. Now then, they do eventually arrive outside of the Nomu factory. And then there is what does currently happen. In another location, All Might would smash into the villain's bar with the help of Endeavor. Now, as, let's say, Karagiri does actually go to head for the window, along with actually trying to open a portal in that direction, somebody does smash through it, melting through the glass immediately as he does throw up his hands, blasting a bright blast of fire directly into the lizard man, along with actually using his heat to make the person with the pillar or that magnetization quirk drop their, well, weapon. As we do have Pro Hero Dabi. Now, he actually is here too, helping out with this current predicament. As Shigaraki does inform him that that is a pretty devastating quirk. He almost killed Slasher there. Possibly yes, but I am using low temperature flames. Him holding up a blue set of fire in his hand. That's a shame. Master would have quite liked your quirk. especially with how dangerous it is. It would have a good place in our new society. No thanks. I'll stick with the one I'm still in. I'm going to blast out his right hand, as Shigaraki does have the portal come out of his mouth, or the sledge that turns into a portal come out of his mouth. Now, meanwhile, All For One and All Might do clash, as All Might left as soon as, well, that happened, heading over to the other location as many Nomu were released. Now, at the Nomu factory, roughly 4 to 5 seconds later, after all this has gone down, we do have Bakugo, who is able to break out of his bindings, along with All For One revealing himself. Bakugo trying to run out of the building and actually get away, as All For One does call out his name, Bakugo Katsuki. Him turning around and seeing All For One. Who the hell are you? My. You're the troublemaker from the sports festival, aren't you? So what if I am? Well, quite interesting. Explosions. And your quirk. I want to know. Why do you want to become a hero? To be better than everyone else. I should be number one, especially with my power. Interesting dream. What if I told you I can make that dream a reality? In the new world? I'd tell you that you're crazy. I don't think you understand, child, what my quirk is. They call me All For One. And this being where All Might disappear. All For One catching his fist and blowing him back with the air cannon immediately. Continuing out his offer to Bakugo. Bakugo quickly rejecting it with an explicit "go fuck yourself." Now, with that being said, this would be whenever the plan is enacted. As, out from behind a building or in an alleyway, all of a sudden bright flames do appear. As Izuku, he's up in the air. As he would put both of his hands behind him and quickly blast off, with an immense amount of pressure. As that does happen, we actually do have, well, Denki, who is trying to talk to Bakugo, telling Bakugo to simply just get up here. Now, Bakugo does actually look at those three, as he does try and think. He can get out of here all by himself. Him trying to turn and run in a direction. However, there are Nomu all around him. And then there is All Might, who actually is stunned to see those three there. However, he does actually applaud their tactic. Pick up the student in danger and get the hell out of here as fast as they can. All Might actually taking attention away from this battle, and blitzing Bakugo, grabbing him and telling him to go with Young, as he would say Denki's first name. Which I believe, well, would be either Denki or, no, it's Kaminari, I think. I do not know. I forget how you would put Denki Kaminari down on paper, or which one people usually do call him. Because Kyoka calls him Denki or a lot, not Kaminari. I lost track on that. Anyways, now. As All Might does throw him, Bakugo's alarmed by that. A first name basis. Now, Izuku is actually the one who's able to grab Bakugo, pulling him into the vortex as these four do fly out of there at high speeds. All For One actually thinking for a second to go and pursue them, as All Might does step back up to the plate, informing All For One not to go after them, that their fight will end here. Now, this is whenever All For One, he's quite amused, as the two would begin a battle, the All Might killing weapon being formed, and everything happening to a point similar in canon. Until All Might, he does begin to feel himself at a physical limit. And people actually see All Might buff down a bit. Now, when this does actually happen, All Might does go in for his smash, as him and All For One both collide right arms. As this is happening, one thing does occur. Instead of All Might actually sacrificing his right arm, in the collision going for a left hook, there is a large blast of fire. And then there is a certain slicing sound. Now, the pro hero Endeavor has shown up, as he actually does land on the scene, looking over at All Might and seeing him, expressing that he looks like he's had a very bad day. All Might telling Endeavor that it does seem that way, as he actually does appreciate the backup. Now, Endeavor just simply tells All Might that he isn't the only one here. All For One confused, as there is an All For One's immediate left, where suddenly a bright blue burst is seen, as All For One to try and face that direction and go to blast. However, on the other side, there is someone directly in All For One's face, as they would send out a very large blast of fire directly in All For One's helmet. Now, that would heavily damage it. And that would be whenever Dobby, he actually just go flying backwards with his flames, before throwing his hands out backwards and actually trying to at least steady himself out, slowly putting his feet back down on the ground, saying that, well, he thinks that did something. As the three would face off against All For One, who would be taken down in the ensuing battle. Now, All Might would also at least encourage the next generation, shouting out that it's your turn, and it being announced that he would retire. Now then, with that being said, we do have back at the dorms. After all this is said and done, where Bakugo, he is pissed off, and he actually does grab Denki by her wrist while everyone is talking in the living room, him pulling her outside. Now, she's quite confused. What do you want, Bakugo? First off, I have a few questions. Your quirk. What about it? Well, I have a theory. It's All Might, isn't it? What? How did you... I knew it. Now, that answers one of my questions. However, it also might answer my second one. What do you mean? Well, I'm curious. Did you grow up without a father? What? What does that even mean? Just answer the question. No. What do you mean? I mean, no, I'm not going to answer your question. Besides, if you want to ask me something, just ask me already. Enough with this interrogation. Fine. Are you All Might's secret love child? What? You're joking, right? No, I'm not. I'm curious. Very much so. All Might, he let you escape during the finals. Your quirks are similar. And back there in Kemino, he called you by your first name whenever he threw me towards you. And he stopped the villain from trying to pursue you. He seemed very irritated that you were there. Okay. He wanted to protect us, that's why. No, he didn't. It only explains one thing. The others don't add up. So, start talking. Okay. Fine. Do you want to know? I'm not related to All Might. Bullshit. I'm not. In fact, you can ask Momo and Izuku, along with Shoto. They all know I'm not. In fact, I believe it's time to tell you. Tell me what? Oh, trust me, you would not believe me if I told you myself. Otherwise, you'd think I'm making the entire story up. Try me. One explanation later, I don't believe you. Now, after these two go back inside, Bakugo would pull each one of these three aside, trying to learn it from all three of them separately. Now, it's quite intriguing. Apparently, one for all, Denki's surrogate quirk. Now, apparently, this quirk blends in with her natural body's quirk, so you could not tell a difference. And, now that you mention it, Bakugo does see some differences in the way she uses one for all and her normal electricity or lightning. So, if you're made aware of it, it's obvious, and a slight difference. Now, with that being said, this is whenever the fight is avoided, and we do have the Pro Hero exam, or the Pro Hero licensing exam, where everybody is actually talking. And Bakugo, he actually does seem to be a bit more at ease. Him in the back of the bus, talking and at least in a better mood. As he's with Kirishima, his buddy, who's just happy that he's not with the villains anymore. And Uraka, who does seem to be particularly closer to Bakugo, as Bakugo does at least smile whenever she's nearby, and want to talk with her a little bit more. Now, with that being said, Aizawa does try and let these students go into the test blind. However, somebody does actually speak up about all this. Whenever they're off the bus, people would actually explain that they saw their sports festival on live television. Somebody being far too excited to meet a Todoroki. As we actually have the wind guy, who would come walking up and look at Izuku and his brother. Now, the wind guy, he does still have his opinion on Endeavor somewhat the same as in canon. Endeavor was a dick. However, he does seem to be changing. And he's made that quite apparent in his actions, as he goes for less publicity and more hero work. Now, you also do have the fangirls, who do try running up to Izuku and his brother. Now, that's quite surprising, especially whenever somebody actually does ask Izuku for his autograph, and him actually trying to take it. Now, as Izuku does actually grab the pen, he actually does stab his finger on something. As there is actually a little drop of blood. The person apologizing and actually telling Izuku that she might have another pen, it might work better. And Midoriya using that pen to sign, along with getting the signature of the other Todoroki. Now, with that being said, the exam does go similarly to canon. And that would be whenever the wind guy, he actually does try and do the same tactic. However, Izuku, being there, is able to counteract his wind and actually protect people on the ground against his signature move. Him only getting about 300 people out. When Midoriya, he actually does go for a move to counter his attack. Him manipulating plates on the side of the buildings and creating a small little obstacle course, which these two would then begin to have an aerial battle in, and try to fight. Izuku having home field advantage by keeping him out of the sky range, and closer down towards the earth, him eventually winning. Midoriya passing the test, and so does everybody in canon. Or everybody, the same as in canon. Momo having a bit more variety during her little attack or defense. Now, there is also the rescue portion. Izuku working with Uraka to try and help get people out from underneath the rubble, and actually using his abilities to create what he can. Support pillars and, well, turning places into dust. Along with actually providing what could be considered to be cast for injuries. People are quite weirded out by the solid stone covering their arms. However, in any useful situation, this will actually stop bleeding and put pressure on the wounds. So he does get a passing grade for this. Now, with that being said, he does pass. And so does everyone else. And now, we actually do cut over to Toga, who's quite happy with herself, as she does hold up 2 little vials while she does walk away. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I will catch